Right, so we can be a bit more formal now that we're being recorded. Um, so Ms. Karasani, do you want to start off? Because you have a great presentation. I'll let her start.
Since you are talking in this issue regarding
Okay, so
the
first of
youth
all,
art
Fatima,
format.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And you know, the things that you talked about, I have experienced in some form or other. So hopefully what I'm going to share will be helpful to you and to anyone else who might, you know, get the information that we are sharing here today.
Okay.
So I'm going to share my screen.
Mhm.
And I have this little presentation about foreign educated teacher certification for applicants, what they need to know in order to move forward. So I was thinking more about my experience as a teacher in the school district of Philadelphia, but I have taught college too. I have taught a few years I taught at Bucks County Community College. All right, so first of all, I wanted to say a little bit more about myself. So on this slide is information about me. My name is Nora Karasanya, you can see up there. So a bit about me. I came to this country as a professional exchange visitor on a J1 visa in 1988. That visa was very restrictive, you know, it had to do with only working in that capacity as a visitor. So of course, when it ended, it was a big problem to change it. I had to go through a process of asking for permission in Uganda to be released from the college, the university where I taught, which was a tall order. It was really difficult because they didn't want to release me. But you know, I digress. That is about me, and this is not about me too much, right? So because I could not return to Uganda, I was out of status, therefore. And I became what they call an illegal alien, you know, and I hate that term with a passion. So I could not work, as you know, as a professor or in any teaching capacity because I had no working papers, and life was difficult. It really was. So I had to try and change my status. And it took me 8 years to work on getting that status changed. So of course I had to get the permission from Uganda. I eventually did. And then I started the long journey of filing papers with a lawyer to change my status. At some point, the lawyer could not do much for me. So it was left up to me. In fact, this lawyer told me that I was doing the work better than she was. So because I was, you know, reading up on everything and looking at what I needed to do for immigration and that kind of thing, I was way ahead of her. So she said, you know what, she wasn't helping me and she felt bad taking my money. So she let me continue with the process. So what am I saying here? What I'm saying is that it's possible. Things are possible, you know. It's possible to get where you want to go if you stick with it. So you got to be resilient. You got to stick with it. If this is your passion, Fatima, you want to be a teacher in Philadelphia, you want to be a professor in the US, you can. You just need to work on it.
Appreciate that, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Regardless of where, you know, you feel the hurdles are, the challenges, you still can, you know, get over it. You can bypass them because this is a great country, regardless of everything else that has gone on in the streets. This is a great country, and you will get what you know, your goals, what you aspire to get. All right.
My
So
situation is same to you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So 8 years later, 1996, I got my green card. So now I could think about working in the education field again. So like I said, I went to work to look in colleges and everything, and I got you know, a few classes here and there. And people were really advising me to stay out of the school district of Philadelphia because they had had stories of, you know, the experiences of people, how the children are terrible and all of that, how the conditions were terrible. Well, before I even went to the school district or anywhere else, I had to get my transcripts from Uganda, you know? And that took another 3 years because, you know, Uganda was not easy to get those transcripts, the corruption in the offices. People had to be bribed, and I did not feel that I needed to pay more for what belonged to me. So it took a long time.
I did this and it took me year and a half to get my transcript. Even I paid more.
Right, I know. You know, so that's the story that people
I'm
have.
facing the same thing that you faced in the past.
Right. So eventually I got them though. And then I had to have them evaluated by the World Education Service, WES, for American equivalency. Have you heard of this organization? You know about this?
I have it. Maybe as I'm a medical, I do it in CGFNS here in Philadelphia.
Okay, all right. So in spite of, I'm sorry, didn't mean to do that. And I think I'm gonna have to change this position here so I can see my notes. Give me a second here. Oh dear. Okay. All right, so in spite of all that, you know, I ended up working in the school district of Philadelphia for very personal reasons, you know. It was a process. And eventually, yeah, it was, you know, the best place for me to work. Okay. I want to go to the next slide. Come on. All right, here we go. And I have to move this down here again. Okay. All right, so the requirements, what I needed to do in order to become a teacher in the school district of Philadelphia. So for the college, I had already got my master's, you know, I had 2 masters. So I was able to teach ESL at community college, Bucks County Community College with that, without anything else. That was enough for college. But for the school district, there were other things that I needed. So in the school district of Philadelphia, you need to have a bachelor's degree or higher. So if you have a bachelor's degree in arts or in science and a master's, you know, it's better in terms of salary. So the more education you have, the better salary that, you know, you'll be awarded.
Okay.
And then we talked about this, the degrees being translated into American education equivalency. And I use this organization, the World Education Service, but like you said, there may be others. And then you needed to be certified to meet the Pennsylvania or whichever state you are in. But for me, Pennsylvania general and subject specific program framework guidelines. That meant that I had to take praxis 1 and 2. And I think I mentioned praxis somewhere down here to be certified. I also had to take, so my subject is English, but I had to take math courses as well in order to be, you know, certified. And then I also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What is praxis 1 and 2?
All right, so praxis 1 and 2, they are tests that you have to take in a subject in general. So first of all, general subjects, and then in the subject area. So,
Okay.
you know, it's like I have a website that is coming on the next slide. I'll give you that information, but general subjects, it's an exam that you have to do. And then in your specific subject, so my specific subject was English, that would be the second one. Okay. And then I also had to do an English language proficiency test. That was at Messiah College. And you know, it was a speak test for me. And you go in there and somebody talks to you and to verify whether you can speak English. And so this woman tells me,
Now
listen, Miss
I'm
K.
exactly in this position now. I examined TOEFL twice. Now I'm preparing for the third one because
Right.
they need the English proficiency test as TOEFL. So
Yes,
they need the 48 to complete my evaluations.
right.
And I unfortunately get the 67. Yes.
Right.
So
But,
I have
yes.
3 again.
Yeah, so stick with it. But listen to this. I didn't take the TOEFL because, listen, I was a professor in English.
Okay.
And, you know, so that this lady, I go to Messiah College and she looks at me and we're talking and she said, listen, what a waste of a trip. You speak better English than me.
Wow, wow,
I
wow.
can't judge you like, you know, you are near native proficiency. How can I even, you know, question your ability to teach a class? So anyway, she gave me 98.9, whatever. And she said, go your way, Miss K, you're fine.
Wow, marvelous.
Anyway, but that's a
Miss-
requirement. It's a
So
requirement.
I just wanted to let you both know that I had a crazy situation where they also wanted me to take the TOEFL exam. And I said, hang on, I'm from London and English is the only language I know.
I know. Oh, wow.
So it's just like they want to check the box, you know, like I'm from I am also an immigrant. And but they didn't think about like what the language of that immigrant is speaking, right? So they just like, you've got to take this exam because you're an immigrant, you know?
Right.
So
Now I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with TOEFL now.
Yeah, but you will do it. You'll get just, you know, do the
Absolutely.
practice tests and the exercises, and you
Yes.
should be okay. Yeah, you
Yes,
should.
I'm doing now. Yes, I'm doing now.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so the next one is you need to be a citizen of the US or have a permanent resident immigration visa status. So I was able to begin my with a permanent residence, but I had to declare my intention to become a citizen of the United States, and then I soon became that. All right, and then you need 24 graduate courses for level 2. So you have 2 levels of certification in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania rather. So level 1 is when you do the praxis 1 and 2, and then level 2 is a different test that you do. You have to go through an induction program after teaching a few years in the Philadelphia school district, and then you can apply for level 2.
Mm.
Okay, let me stop here for a second. Do you have any questions?
I have a quick question. So for someone who does not have their permanent residence PR card yet, what is some advice you can give them since they only have a work permit?
Right. If they have a work permit, you know, I'm not sure what these different places, especially like institutions of learning, of higher learning and so on, I'm sure they would allow you to work within the given time period. But I do know that charter schools would definitely allow you to work because that's where I started. I started in a charter school and I did not, I believe I had applied and I didn't have the work permits yet, you know, so yeah, some places, but that's a place that I need more information myself because I'm not sure really.
Thank you so much. That was really helpful.
An idea about that?
So charter schools will, so there's a certain number of slots in charter schools where they don't need to be certified because they're coming from another country. They have to get certification within a certain period of time if they want to remain there permanently. But there's a leeway of a couple years when they don't have to, where the stress of taking the praxis exam is not put upon them. And there are higher institutions where they hire people from other countries all the time, but the university will have to be the sponsor for them. and the university will do all the paperwork for them. I have friends who are, from different countries, and they're here temporarily, but some of those people actually are planning to also go back to their country. They're not trying to get a green card. So it just depends. But yes, there is flexibility because the charter school, but it's only a certain number of positions that the school is permitted to have teachers who don't have the praxis exam and are from another country, who don't have like their green card yet. So the slots are few for each charter school, so you need to hit as many charter schools as possible.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And I know that for students, just give me a second. I have to close my window.
And these charter schools in Philadelphia specifically?
Yeah,
That's what I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in Philadelphia, but I think across the state of Pennsylvania, I think that applies to most of them. But I wanted to add that, for students who come here when they finish their course and they want to, they have 1 year to work. So they could work in a school, they could work anywhere that they want for another year after their studies.
Okay.
So the next slide talks about these the websites that I thought might be helpful. So this is really, I don't know, should I put this in the chat maybe?
Okay.
That would be really great. Thank you so much.
All right, let's see. I need to be able to. I have to stop sharing. A second. Okay, so there's two. And then I had one on the praxis. Okay, yeah, the praxis right there. So World Education Service, where's the third one? I should have three. Hold on a second. Okay, so we have the World Education Service, we have the praxis, and I have one more, hold on. Oh, okay, the third one is right there too. Okay, let me do it again. All right, this is the third one, but it's not highlighting up. I don't know. Can you access it? Are you able to? So one is Foreign Education Teacher Certification, and then the World Education Service and praxis.
I think the foreign education one we don't have. We have the World Education Service and the ETS one.
Okay, so let me see here. Let's see. All right, there. All right. Okay, let's see. And then finally, on my fifth slide, I have, so let me share again a few comments. All right, so when Michelle asked me to do this, I found a few teachers who were foreign nationals and what they had to say about, their teaching experience. So one person said, student behavior threw me off. So you have to go in there strong, knowing that you're going to be challenged because it's not going to be the same as when you were in your country. There were certain things that were a culture shock to me also. Another one says, patience and tolerance are the only words I can use to describe my breakthrough. So there was a breakthrough, but that came on the heels of being patient and putting up with certain things. Another one said, smiling became part of my anger management strategy. So instead of being angry, this person chose to smile. Another one said, I had to tell myself constantly, these are children. And then finally, always be kinder than necessary because you don't know where someone has been. So I found that, number 5, as a writing somewhere, and I put it in my classroom and always referred to it when some children were acting up or when someone was having a harsh comment for another person, when children were having a fight with words or even physically. I always had that up and I reminded them, always be kinder than necessary because you don't know where someone has been. And that's it. Any other questions? If I can answer, I will try.
Thank you so much, Nora. So the floor is open and we do have a couple people who have joined us. You may also ask Nora or Michelle any questions regarding this topic. So the floor is open.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My apologies. I just joined the meeting. I just, I totally, busy with something, but I'm sorry. I came late and then, it seems that it's very informative session. So I'm sorry for that, being late.
It's nice to meet you. How do you say your name?
My name is Mohammed Sanusi from Sudan.
From Sudan. Okay. Yeah, I've had some wonderful students from Sudan at District 1199C. You guys are very, very, very focused. So please continue what you're doing. And like I said earlier, you will meet your goals. This is a great country. America is a good country. So in spite of all the other things that go on in the background that you have to go through, that you suffer because you are different a little bit, because you are from somewhere else, you still can meet your goals.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, maybe I missed that part. The one, I just want to know that some kind of becoming a teacher in America. I mean, I'm an educator, my background, and then also I'm very interested in education. So, and then I've been teaching in high schools and middle school, even at universities sometimes. So now coming to new environment with a different cultural shock, as I may say that. So there is a lot of challenge I believe that somebody may face. So and then also I just kind of that there's a lot of process that need to be taken place so that I can manage to proceed with my passion in terms of teaching. So if I'm not mistaken, there's something that has to do with a teaching license or something like that. I heard something like that. So to be a qualified teacher in Philadelphia or PA, So I think one of the requirement is to have a teaching license.
Right.
So could you give me some thought on that?
Okay, so let me go back to my PowerPoint and the points about certification and so on. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Oh, all right, where did I go? I just left somewhere. Hold on.
Also, this meeting is being recorded. You can also go back to it and rewind to if you
All right.
when I send it to you, Mohammed.
Okay,
right.
okay,
Oh,
okay.
Mohammed, right now we have on the screen, can you see that?
Yeah, requirements, yeah.
Right, okay. So you have to have, you know, so I'm sure you have your degree or degrees,
Yeah,
but they have to be changed into the American equivalency. And I
yeah,
thought,
which I did. I did
Oh,
my
okay,
evaluation of
okay,
state, which
good.
I have.
So then now what you need for teacher certification in Pennsylvania is to take the praxis 1 and 2. And in the chat, we dropped in information about there's a link for you
All right.
for the praxis. So you will read up on that information. And then you need to take the language proficiency test. And depending on what level, you know, I'm sure they'll tell you on the application forms what you need to do with that. So when you get an application form for me, it was the School District of Philadelphia. They had that package. They had everything on there that I needed to do.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so you need to get the application form for the place where you want to work, and then if you have any other questions, you can ask them. Their HR office can help you with that.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry to just take you back again because I missed this part, and this is a very important for me. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely. And then the citizenship question also. You need to have, you know, either be a citizen or have permanent residence.
All right, okay.
The green card.
Okay, I understand. Thank
And
you.
then
Thank
for
you.
Philadelphia, I think it's for Pennsylvania, really. You have to declare intention of becoming a citizen of the United States. And this is a hyperlink, it's hot. You can click on this and it will open up to tell you more information on that.
All right, okay. Okay, thank you. It's very, very good.
All right, is this good? So
Yeah, this is very helpful. So I will definitely go back when I think the meeting is recorded, and then I may have access to what you said earlier.
right. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? These are the websites I was talking about, but they're also in the chat.
All right, okay.
But you already have done this, you know. So
Yeah, I've done worse. Yeah,
and
I've
this
done
is
that.
the one that you need, the praxis.
All right, okay. Okay, that's good.
Right. And then this is where you found us. So you saw this. These are words of people that have been working. They came from either Kenya or Uganda or West Africa, you know, or Sudan even, you know, like Ethiopia. So they gave me these words of wisdom to share with you guys today.
All right, that's good. Yeah, because I believe that the environment is different, and then if I'm not mistaken, in many African countries, so not all of them, but most of them, back in days, like say 20 years ago, they use a corporal punishment as one of the method in a school, so to discipline kids. So that experience, I do believe that back my generation and maybe generation before me, they had that experience. But now there's a lot of change on that. So if somebody comes from that environment, it was totally different environment in US, exactly. So these shifts need to be taken into consideration, and then and it fits very much in what you say.
Yes. Okay. And earlier I said something about me, so let's go back. Okay, so this is about me. I come from Uganda. So you are my neighboring country to
Yeah,
the north. We share the River Nile.
yeah, we do, we do.
Yes, we do. We do.
I've been to Uganda actually. I know. I've been to Kampala. I've been to Wendege. I've been to
Oh my
Boziga.
goodness.
I,
Wonderful, even.
I,
Wow.
I've been to Gaba. I've been to Manyonyo. I've been to so many
Oh,
places in
wow.
Uganda. Yeah.
All the hot spots of Uganda, of
Yeah.
Kampala.
Thank you.
Been there. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So I come from, I was a professor at Chambogo
All right. All right.
Teacher Institute. Yeah, which was an
Mm,
affiliate of the University of Makerere, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's my history a bit. So
I
that's
got
that's
I got a friends in Makara University. I used to go there. And then I also met Professor Mamdani, who is I think he's in Makara University. So I
right.
met him in South Africa because I did my degree in Cape Town. So
Oh,
I
okay.
got a lot of friends from from Uganda, and then I used to go to the area called Chukume, close to the area of the Makerere, where the students stay. So
Yes, I know.
yeah, so I'm sorry to take the
No, no, you're
participant
fine.
back
I think
to
you are right.
something that different than the agenda of the meeting, but it's just that I'm so delighted to meet you and then to share that experience that I've been to Uganda as well.
Likewise. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think Michelle would agree. And I didn't get your name. I'm so sorry.
My name Muhammad.
No. The
presenter.
presenter.
No, it's okay. My name is Sherry Han. It's kind of a hard one to
Yeah,
remember.
Sherry
but-
Hans. Okay. So both of you would agree that this is a great conversation, because it takes us into, those personal experiences are what make us who we are. And you cannot get away from yourself if you want to move forward. You got to so taking me back to Makerere and to Wandegea, and then bringing it to Philadelphia, where we
Yeah.
want to do the same thing, but in a different environment is relevant, I believe, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Nora or Michelle, either of you can answer this question. What is some advice that, oh, okay, sorry, Michelle needs to take off. Thank you so much for joining us
Yeah, I'm
today.
sorry, I have a train to catch, so I've got to run.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but thank you, Ms. Karasani, Fatima, it was so nice, Mohammed, and then there's Samuel that we have not heard from. But thank you very much. I hope that we can continue to have this conversation. I didn't realize, how many people really need this information. And I think Ms. Karasani, because of her own personal experience, is fantastic at this, this information. So thank you so very much, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
catch
you.
up later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Michelle. I just have a quick question. What is some, I guess, what would be your major advice to our clients who are seeking to be teachers here in the US? What is one major advice to, I know that's probably a big question, but you can answer it however you would like.
So seeking to be a teacher, you have to be resilient because it takes a lot of reading, certifications, things of that nature that, you have to put time into. And also you got to be, cognizant of the expenses that may go into that, because the certifications are not free. You have to pay money for all of these courses that I'm talking about. So I had to take math courses at community college, was what I could afford, but I still had to pay for those, the praxis, all of these tests take money. So you need to make a plan and stick to your plan is what I would say. So you saw how long it took me in all those years, it was like every year I was doing something towards what I wanted to do. And forget about the time that was passing. I was, always thinking, so I have wasted 10 years. But really, I didn't waste 10 years. I grew as a human being. In those 10 years that, between 1988 and 1999, when I finally got a job at a charter school, I believe I had grown as a human being. And I had raised my children also, So that time was precious on many levels. So have a plan, don't give up, just keep working at your goal. You may need to do some short-term goals and then your long-term goal. I know I'm speaking too much. I sometimes get lost into these things, but yeah. So have a plan and put some short-term goals and then your long-term goal. What do you want? At the end of whatever, what do you want?
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that advice. And I want to continue opening up the floor just a couple more minutes. And just for any more questions you have, Nora, now that we have her here with us. Samuel, are you in? I just want to check in with you. Do you have any questions for Nora now that she's with us?
Yes, good morning. I don't, well, my question, because me, when I was in Haiti, I teach at university, it's not high school. But if I am going to teach, maybe that's to high school, it will be a problem for me because only university I teach. You understand what I mean?
Right, but so I was in that position though. I came as a professor to this country. But
Okay.
then when I got a job at a community college as an
Okay.
adjunct or part-time professor.
All right.
And I taught there for some time. But for personal reasons, I could not continue working at, as a professor in my professorship. I had little children and I needed healthcare. I needed healthcare and other benefits that the school district of Philadelphia was offering that I couldn't have or had no guarantee that I would become tenure because it was taking like 10 years, 20 years for people to get a full-time job in the university. So what did I decide? I decided to keep part-time as, as an adjunct professor, but then get full-time in the school district for the benefits that they were offering. And I have to tell you that I don't regret that decision.
Okay. Okay, I understand you because me, I like to teach too. It's bon, maybe I can try. It's not a problem for me.
Right.
Right.
It will be a challenge. It will be a challenge because I was accused many times by my colleagues that I was, all my lessons were too high level for the classroom. I had good coaches that helped me bring it down a little bit. Yeah, but it's good to have high expectations. It's okay.
Yeah. All right. If I may ask again, maybe you have mentioned previously, but just what is the one biggest challenge that you face when you first started teaching in a primary or maybe in middle school or high school in Philadelphia?
Well, when I started teaching, I have taught all those levels. So the little children was a challenge for me during summer school because it wasn't my level per se, but it was pleasant because you could learn quickly what the children, like you sit in a circle, you read a little story, you just get their level materials and do activities. So that was fine. Eventually, I could adjust to that. The middle school was by far the hardest part for me because of I guess it's their growth period. And I was challenged. I definitely was challenged because of the behavior of the children. So this is why those statements that we had on the next slide, this, were very helpful. You know, words like this, I had to talk myself, you know, out of situations so many times. Always be kinder than necessary because you don't know where someone has been. I had to adjust to that, and it took me, I don't think I ever conquered because then after a while I was teaching in high school, and I've always been teaching for the most part the 11th graders and 12th graders, so the older kids. So it's been a blessing for me in that sense. But when you are in a situation, you adjust. You know, we are human beings, we are resilient.
All right, yeah, I do understand. That's okay.
Right.
Yeah, because this is just I'm connecting it with my experience that I had also when I was teaching in the middle school and even the high school. So usually students who are between 12 to 16 and 17,
Right.
their behavior are very challenging, sometimes controlled. And then this is where, I mean, most of the teachers or educators face a problem. So then if there was no proper guidance or maybe advice or the methodology in which somebody will follow, then there will be a lot of, you know, problems. So yeah, that's a bit challenging because I believe that, you know, teenage, I mean, you know, when we are still teenagers, that they are very, it needs high level of attention, high level of
Right.
discipline in order to control them. So it's
Right.
a very critical moment in the
their
kids'
life.
age. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but then you see what I discovered was underneath all of that, children were children, you know, and they just need connection. So you build connections. And for me, because I am calm most of the time, I was being told that I was showing weakness,
Yeah.
and therefore I needed to be like this, and I could not be like this because this is not my character. So, you
Right.
know, what do you do in those
Yeah.
cases is that you build relationships. I found it took longer. So every year when I was in teaching middle school, and I did that for like 5 years, every year in September, it took me until November to get my classes under control. But once I did it, that was it. Like, so building relationships with the children, with their families, like going out of my way many times to even visit. So I started working at a school that was an all boys school in the school district of Philadelphia. And that first year, you know, I started in 7th grade because it was 7 to 12. And then they moved me from 10 to 10th grade and 12th grade classes. But let me tell you, I didn't change who I was, but those children, the very first, you know, week of school, because I came in late, they went to the principal and said, that new teacher, she's fresh, there's something about her. And I'm saying, what? My classes are crazy. I couldn't, you know, so what they saw was not what I was experiencing per se. So I'm saying that to say this, like, you don't know how you touch children. So just be yourself. Just stay true to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that cultural barrier sometimes is, you know, as you said, we are human beings, so we just to adapt and adjust to the new environment. It's a challenge in the beginning, but I mean, as long as somebody had experience dealing with the children and working with the children for so many years, I'm sure that he or she can manage to fit in.
Right.
Yeah.
But they'll give you hell if they see that you're not honest or you're not genuine.
All right.
That is, you know, like, you know, November may never come for you, but they have to see that you actually care, and your calmness, or like in my case, your kindness is not a weakness. You have to make it a strength that connects to their real lives.
All right. Okay. That's very good. Well, thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof, for your input. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Nora, thank you so much. And you are a very, very inspiring person. And we are just so lucky to have you with us today. And
Thank you.
I know there's a couple professors in this chat right now. Is there any advice you would give to professors who are wanting to become professors here? Is that just going to be a long-term thing? Or do you think it's possible? It might just take maybe 10 years or something like that. I know that you
Yeah,
mentioned.
so for me, it took some time. So I started off by applying. So you don't be shy, like apply to different places. I did get jobs so I applied to Temple, I applied to University of Penn. I got a job at the University of Penn, but it was again adjunct, so it was not full time. And then I got community colleges. So don't be shy. Just, you never know. Your path may not be my path.
Exactly.
So, but
Exactly.
just so
That's
take
good.
the courage to, okay, so your subject area, you have a subject area. Look at different colleges around. Are they hiring? So don't be afraid to jump into the market. And however long it takes, if you persist with something, usually something good comes out of it. That's what I have faith in this country. I do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. Okay, we are wrapping up now. Thank you so much, Nora, for taking the time out and presenting. I hope we didn't tire you out with our questions.
No, you didn't. I had fun. I actually enjoyed this very much. So I had an earlier, I had a meeting at 11. I had to cancel it because I didn't want to just, rush through. It's fine. I rescheduled, so it's fine. It's fine. It was a pleasure actually to be here.
Thank you again for taking the time out. We really, really do appreciate it. And before you leave, I would like to get your email just so I can email you,
All right.
send you a thank you
you.
card.
Mm.
I'm just going to pull up a survey. If you can just take 2 minutes to answer the survey, that would be great. Let me know if you see it on your end. So if you can just take like a minute to answer the survey, then we can wrap up here.
All right. That's it. My email is in there.
Thank you so much, Nora. I'm going to go ahead and send you an email.
Okay. You're welcome.
Mm. Thank you, Prof, once again for your really informative, presentation. So, I'm looking forward for other sessions, and also maybe one day if there's any possibility even to meet and then have a more advice and guidance from you. I really do want. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that you're fine. You're welcome, and I would love that. So
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
gonna get this email, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Okay. Definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Prof.
You're welcome.